For more than half a century, Americans have tuned in to 60 Minutes, trusting the program to deliver fearless, hard-hitting journalism every Sunday night. The show has become a staple of American culture, known for its relentless pursuit of the truth and its willingness to tackle the most controversial stories, no matter the risk or the pressure from those in power. Generations of viewers have relied on 60 Minutes to shine a light on hidden corners of society, holding the powerful accountable and giving a voice to the voiceless. But on December 21, 2025, that trust was suddenly and dramatically shaken, leaving viewers and journalists alike in disbelief. Just hours before airtime, a major investigation, months in the making, into the Trump administration's deportation of Venezuelan migrants to a notorious El Salvador prison was abruptly pulled from the broadcast schedule. The story, which promised to reveal shocking details about the treatment of migrants and the U.S. government's role, was expected to spark national debate. The order to kill the segment came directly from Bari Weiss, the newly appointed and already controversial editor-in-chief of CBS News. Her decision sent shockwaves through the newsroom, as staff scrambled to understand the reasoning behind such a high-stakes move. The segment, led by veteran correspondent Sharon Alfonsi, had already been heavily promoted across CBS platforms. It was widely anticipated, with teasers promising to expose serious human rights abuses tied to U.S. policy. Many in the newsroom saw it as a defining moment for the network's commitment to investigative reporting. Instead, viewers at home were met with a hastily arranged replacement story. There was no explanation, no acknowledgement of the change, just silence where answers were expected. The sudden switch left loyal fans confused and suspicious. Inside CBS, the decision was seen as a betrayal of the network's core values. Outrage spread quickly among journalists, leading to leaks and internal dissent that soon spilled into the public eye and made national headlines. Critics and media watchdogs immediately began to question whether this was a difficult editorial judgment or a troubling act of self-censorship, possibly intended to appease powerful political or corporate interests. The lack of transparency only fueled speculation and concern. The incident quickly became a flashpoint in the ongoing debate over journalistic independence, raising urgent questions about the future of investigative reporting in a politically charged era. For many, it was a stark reminder of the fragile balance between editorial freedom and external pressures in today's media landscape. The pulled report was the result of months of dangerous, painstaking investigative work by Sharon Alfonsi and her dedicated team. They worked under immense pressure, often facing threats and obstacles as they dug deeper into a story that many wanted to keep hidden. The process was grueling, involving late nights, cross-border calls, and a relentless pursuit of the truth. Their investigation uncovered the harrowing fate of 252 Venezuelan migrants, who, after being deported by the U.S., were not sent back to their homeland as expected. Instead, they were transferred to El Salvador's notorious CECOT mega prison, a facility infamous for its harsh conditions, allegations of torture, and reports of unexplained deaths. The team traced the journey of these migrants, piecing together a disturbing narrative that connected U.S. immigration policy to human rights abuses abroad. The segment featured powerful, first-hand accounts from former prisoners and their families. These testimonies exposed the brutal reality inside CECOT, stories of overcrowding, violence, and fear. The report didn't just reveal suffering, it drew a direct line between policy decisions made in Washington and the lives shattered thousands of miles away. Every detail of the story was meticulously vetted. The team pored over documents, cross-checked sources, and ensured the segment passed rigorous legal and editorial scrutiny. By the time it was ready for air, the report had met the network's highest standards for accuracy and fairness. The journalists reached out to all relevant government agencies for comment, giving officials every opportunity to respond. Yet, their requests were met with silence or outright refusals, a common challenge in investigative reporting, but one that only strengthened their resolve. In investigative journalism, this is standard procedure: document the refusals, note the lack of response, and move forward with the facts at hand. The team knew the importance of transparency and accountability. The report was complete, accurate, and ready to shine a light on a hidden crisis. It represented the very best of what the network could achieve: fearless, fact-based journalism in the public interest. That's why its last-minute cancellation sent shockwaves through the newsroom. The decision left staff stunned, confused, and searching for answers. For the journalists involved, this was more than just another story. It became a defining moment, a test of CBS's commitment to truth, transparency, and the core values of investigative reporting. Bari Weiss quickly justified her decision, insisting the story wasn't ready for air. She argued the segment lacked on-camera interviews with key Trump officials and needed more context to avoid being one-sided. Weiss also flagged data discrepancies about the deportees' criminal histories and demanded clearer explanations. She framed her move as upholding journalistic standards, not killing the story. But to the reporting team, her demands felt like impossible hurdles designed to shelve the investigation indefinitely. The newsroom saw this as a shift. Stories about the powerful now required their direct participation, or risk being spiked. The explanation only deepened skepticism and internal dissent. Bari Weiss's decision ignited fierce backlash inside CBS. Sharon Alfonsi, the correspondent, accused Weiss of making a political, not editorial call. Alfonsi revealed her team had repeatedly sought administration comment, only to be stonewalled. She warned, if refusal to participate becomes a reason to kill a story, the powerful get a kill switch over journalism. The executive producer of 60 Minutes backed the report, but was forced to comply with Weiss's order, exposing a rift at the top. The newsroom was divided, veteran journalists defending the principle that truth must be reported, even if the subjects refused to engage. Weiss's new standard threatened to turn accountability reporting into a tool for the powerful. For CBS journalists, this was an existential fight for the soul of their profession. The internal rebellion spilled into public view, fueling a crisis of trust. The controversy didn't happen in isolation. It erupted at a pivotal moment, as CBS's parent company, Paramount Skydance, was in the midst of seeking government approval for a massive, industry-shaking merger with Warner Bros. Discovery. The timing couldn't have been more sensitive, with the eyes of regulators, investors, and the public all fixed on the outcome of this high-stakes deal. The deal required a green light from powerful federal agencies, all of which were overseen by the Trump administration at the time. These agencies had the authority to approve or block the merger, making their favor crucial for the companies involved. In this climate, every move by CBS and its parent company was scrutinized for signs of political calculation or self-preservation. The stakes were enormous, not just for the companies, but for the future of media itself. This raised immediate suspicions. Was the story about the administration pulled to avoid jeopardizing the merger? Was journalistic integrity being sacrificed for corporate gain? The arrival of Bari Weiss as a prominent figure at CBS added another layer of intrigue. Her appointment was closely tied to corporate maneuvering as she joined the network shortly after Paramount acquired her media startup, further blurring the lines between editorial independence and business interests. Critics and observers began to question whether her loyalty would lie with the principles of journalism or with the corporate executives who now signed her paycheck. The debate spilled into op-eds, social media, and even internal newsroom discussions. Lawmakers and media watchdog groups soon launched probes, searching for any evidence of corporate interference in editorial decisions. The possibility that business interests could shape news coverage became a flashpoint for public concern. The optics were damning. A tough, potentially damaging report on the administration was shelved at the very moment the parent company needed government favor. The timing alone fueled speculation and distrust. The incident quickly became a case study in the dangers of media consolidation, highlighting how the lines between business strategy and journalistic mission can become dangerously blurred when so much power is concentrated in so few hands. For many inside and outside the industry, it was impossible to separate editorial decisions from the looming shadow of corporate pressure. The episode left a lasting question. Can the public truly trust the news when business interests are always in the background? Alfonsi's kill switch warning struck a nerve because it exposed a chilling threat to investigative reporting. If powerful entities can block stories simply by refusing comment, accountability journalism collapses. For generations, no comment meant the story moved forward, not stopped. Weiss's decision set a dangerous precedent. Stories about the powerful now required their participation to air. This would cripple reporting on government, corporations, and institutions that routinely stonewall the press. The result? A timid media, unable to hold anyone accountable. The kill switch isn't just about one story. It threatens the future of investigative journalism. 60 Minutes built its reputation on fearless independent reporting. The decision to pull the CECOT segment and the public fallout dealt a serious blow to that legacy. The gold standard of broadcast journalism now appeared vulnerable to political and corporate influence. Internal dissent became public, with correspondents and producers openly questioning leadership. The show's authority rests on the belief that its journalists are free to follow the facts. Now, viewers wonder, are they seeing the full story, or just what the network allows? Restoring trust will be far harder than building it. The incident left a lasting mark on the brand and its audience. At the heart of this controversy is public trust in the media. Editorial independence is the firewall protecting journalism from government, corporate, and personal agendas. The perception that CBS caved to outside pressure damaged its credibility. When trust erodes, audiences turn to unreliable sources, fueling polarization and misinformation. If even 60 Minutes is seen as compromised, it undermines faith in all media. The absence of the CECOT story was a failure of journalism's core mission, to inform the public. Editorial independence isn't an ideal, it's essential for democracy. The 60 Minutes saga is a warning for all journalism. It exposes the pressures of politics, business, and leadership on newsroom independence. The kill switch precedent shows how easily accountability can be lost, not by censorship, but by internal decisions. News organizations must define and defend their red lines, codify editorial independence, and be transparent with the public. Ultimately, it takes courage to publish tough stories, to wall off news from business, and to stand up for the truth. The future of a free press and democracy depends on these choices. Will newsrooms recommit to their watchdog role, or yield to those who seek to tame them? The answer will shape our democracy for years to come.